What's up, folks, and welcome to Here's the Deal. Sarah and I have quite a bit to talk about.
So much to talk about.
Where do we even start?
I think everybody knows where we start, actually. Everybody knows we're starting with Ole Miss. I mean, that's not a surprise. I mean, number 8, and they beat Florida, Alabama, and LSU to win the SEC championship. First in program history.
Yep.
Also, this will also be their first time hosting regionals because of it. What's going on with Ole Miss?
Well,
what's the deal with Ole Miss?
This team right now is so cohesive, and it stems from so many people contributing to this team who, like, on paper, I mean, they're not as good as Florida,
right,
like in the circle, but the energy emanating from Caitlin Lee in the circle is so powerful. And not only that, Coach Mike Smith has done nothing but step foot on the Ole Miss campus and completely change the culture of a program.
Yeah, let's talk about Caitlin a little bit here.
Okay.
She's a transfer.
Yep.
Tell us, because her season stats aren't anything that would blow anybody away. They're solid stats. But what did you see in the SEC championship where you were like, this kid?
You know what's cool about Caitlin Lee? For those of you who aren't that familiar, she is a JUCO transfer from the Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College. Outstanding performance her freshman and sophomore year there, and then transfers to Ole Miss and makes an immediate impact. I can't tell you how wonderful it is when you can get a JUCO transfer who comes in with pretty much nothing to lose, chip on their shoulder when you haven't been recruited. We've talked about early recruiting last week, and you talk about a junior college player coming in and then just bulldozing their way to a championship title. I mean, just an unbelievable story that she's got so much confidence in the circle. And that's like the one thing right now that's going to separate people come postseason. Where are you at mentally? And she's going up against Alexis Osorio and Kelly Barnhill, and she gives 0 Fs about them.
She sure did, folks. I got the numbers for you. 28 innings pitched. She pitched all 4 games. She gave up 19 hits, only 3 runs. Only 3 runs. She only walked 1 person the entire weekend. She had 12 strikeouts in those 4 games. She totaled 440 pitches, and she came away obviously with a 4-0 record. Like, those are her numbers. SEC championship against Florida, Alabama, LSU. Now, we made the point a little earlier, like before we went live, that she was facing teams that don't have the strongest offense. Florida, we know their pitching is fantastic, but their offense struggles a bit. Alabama, same thing. They have a great staff. Offense struggles a little bit. And then LSU has kind of been up and down the whole season. And they lost big power hitters from last year, and their offensive numbers have not been there. So she was facing, 3 teams in the SEC, great teams that didn't necessarily have solid hitting.
Yeah, but, at the same time, if you followed Ole Miss all season long, they probably have the most comebacks out of any team in the country. They are fully comfortable being the underdogs and sneaking up on people and beating them. They firmly believe that they can win a national championship. And really,
and for good reason.
Yeah, they have nothing to lose. And if you haven't watched Caitlin Lee, please go watch her, because she is just so exciting to watch. So much energy, and she's probably like 5'4".
Yeah.
She's not that big of a girl, but she's just getting it done. And you gotta love what you saw from the SEC tournament this past weekend. It clearly, when we saw the brackets come out yesterday, and we'll talk more about that, the number of teams that have the potential to win a national championship, you don't know. I mean, we're going to make predictions, but we already know. Like, half of them are probably going to be wrong. It just depends on the situation, whether or not, like, everybody's hitting on all cylinders. The number of mistakes the the opponent makes. I'm so excited about postseason and this Ole Miss team who's hosting for the first time in program history.
Hashtag hottie toddy.
Yeah, hottie toddy.
Hashtag hottie toddy. Yeah, congrats to Ole Miss. I think what Ches and I have been talking about all season, this season has been completely unpredictable.
Yes.
I mean, a team will sweep another team and then they'll lose to a team that the other team lost to. It's completely unpredictable, and I expect the postseason will be exactly that. You guys are going to get to see our picks, so stay tuned. Stay with us because we're going to make our picks, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and if you're on Facebook, please send in your questions. We got one right now. A little jokester on Facebook, Joe Torres. Come on, man. Who's taller, Ches or Lee? I'd probably go with Caitlin Lee. Actually, I know for a fact I am only 5'0".
Caitlin Lee is definitely.
We might need
taller than you.
We need a fact checker there.
I'll check that fact. I got her stats up. Let me see. Let me get her on the roster here.
Just a great story. I love hearing a story like that where somebody who takes an unorthodox route to a Division I school, and now she's the star of this team, and they are one of the most exciting teams to watch.
Oh, yeah.
And you bet your butt come postseason, if they are scoring within those first, couple innings, don't be surprised to see them walk away with a win, because that's kind of been their pattern and their story throughout the SEC tournament, jumping on teams early and then shutting the door on them.
Yeah. And just to fact check that, Caitlin Lee, 5'6".
Oh,
junior
right.
transfer. She got you by a half a foot on that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Ole Miss, I'm super excited to see what they do come postseason. If they win their regional, they'll be paired up with UCLA if UCLA wins their super regional. And we could talk about the ramifications there. My question, we all know Caitlin Lee had a stellar SEC tournament and solid season. Her ERA was like 2.38, something like that. But my question is, does Ole Miss as a team have the pitching to win it all? Can they ride Caitlin Lee the whole time?
I think we've seen that, right? We saw Paige Parker last year.
We sure did.
Why can't Caitlin Lee
think
Caitlin
Lee is going to be the Paige Parker of 2017?
She might. I wouldn't rule it out.
I wouldn't roll it out either.
Right now, she's got the edge mentally against any opposing hitter. Mm-hmm. I think if you are on the opposite end, you have to get on her early. Mm-hmm. That would be my message to the hitters. And the thing is like she's not gonna wow you. She's gonna hit her spots. And she's going to be resilient, even if she gives up a couple hits.
Yeah, she's not going to mow you down. She has 106 strikeouts on the season, 1.78 ERA on the season. But yeah, hitting her spots, making good pitches, not giving up anything huge.
And I think the other piece to this, not with the strikeouts, but talk about Ole Miss's defense. Mm-hmm. With the stellar pitching, she's got a stellar defense behind her that's been making great plays all season long. And that's something to be talked about, especially yes, Caitlin Lee is the star, keeping the runs down on the opposing end, but the defense is just as much a part of it. The offense jumping on the opposing team early, another piece of this. And I think right now they are really in a groove. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be hard to kind of knock them off this kind of high that they're on, because right now they are, I know, mentally feel like they're unstoppable.
Yeah, so what's next for Ole Miss regionals? They're hosting, like we mentioned, it's their first time hosting ever as in program history, so congratulations, Hottie Toddy, hashtag Hottie Toddy. They've got Southern Illinois, North Carolina, Arizona State in their region. I think they're coming out of that region. Yeah,
but just to talk about the parity, mm-hmm. You can't sleep on Arizona State.
Nope.
Giselle Juarez in the circle. We've seen her hold Texas A&M to 1 run, mm-hmm. 1-2 runs. And they have the capability to beat teams. And not only that, they have a couple hitters on their team that can do some serious damage. Now, it just comes down to a little bit of luck, minimizing mistakes, and timely hitting.
Yeah, they definitely could play the upset, but like you said,
right now they're rolling.
They're rolling.
They are rolling.
Yeah, so Ole Miss taking the SEC championship. We're going to pop over to the Pac-12.
All right, let's do it.
And we're going to talk about Washington sweeping Utah in Salt Lake City.
Yep.
We got to start with game. I know, we got to talk about the whole series, but we got to start with game 3.
Game 3.
And you got to tell us what the deal was with game 3.
Game 3 really solidified what we saw from Washington at the beginning of the season when they knocked off Oklahoma. They beat Auburn. They're showing us right now that they have the capability to be national champions. Mm-hmm. Let's just talk about this. They were down 12-1 going into the 5th inning, and they end up putting on, they score 12 runs in 4 innings starting in the 5th, I believe, or 4th, and they just kept piling on the runs. And even though that they were down late in the game against some stellar pitchers with Donovan, Viramontes, and Hilburn, and they made them look like they haven't been like all Pac-12 pitchers. To me, it was a big wow as far as like what this Washington Huskies team is all about.
Yeah, it was certainly impressive. I will say I don't think Utah is going to make the same mistakes again in postseason. If you look at how those runs came in, the 5th inning started with a leadoff walk, yeah. The 6th started with a leadoff walk and then had an error, and then the 7th included an error. I don't think Utah is going to be that sloppy in the postseason. Let's talk about the fact that Washington didn't have any home runs to score those 12 runs. 0 home runs. The ones were driven in on a walk, a single, a sac fly, a double, a single, a double, and an error, and then a sac fly to win it. So,
this is kind of like what I was alluding to, right? The number of mistakes piled up for Utah and it got them in trouble. The leadoff walk, the errors, right? And then Washington's really just playing chess and just good softball, right? We've got single, double, error, sac fly. I mean, those are just like simple, basic methods of run production. Right. And they just executed, right? And they may have had errors on the defensive end to start the game, but it's about minimizing those errors late in the game. It kind of reminds me of like that Patriots game, right? Just the margin of error.
Right.
And that's what it's going to come down to when it's postseason. And it doesn't mean tighten up. It means that like every ball hit to you, make the play. Like anything hit in your vicinity, you make the play. Obviously, on defense, you never want your pitcher to start with a leadoff walk after you put up a bunch of runs.
Right.
And it should have been enough, right?
Absolutely.
Putting up 12 runs for Utah should have been enough.
Yeah.
But the never say die attitude of the Huskies just reveals how dangerous that they could be even late in the game.
Yeah, you're really liking Washington right now. They're on a roll.
Well, they're on a roll. I mean, look at their record right now.
They
went to Oregon, won the series.
If you're the Washington coaching staff, you have to be happy about how that team is entering regionals and then expecting to enter super regionals. Like they're where they need to be as a team going into the postseason.
Yeah, 1 through 9.
Exactly. All right, let's talk about the bracket.
Okay.
Let's start. We actually got a question in here. Laura wants to talk Georgia. She said they were the only team not to make the SEC tournament, but they still earned a seat in the NCAA tournament. How does that happen?
I think it's part of the luxury of being in the SEC. Obviously, if you're playing top-ranked opponents every weekend, whether it's preseason or conference, it works in your favor. And fortunately, in preseason, they did enough to get a seed. Or I'm sorry, to make the tournament. Mm-hmm. They didn't necessarily seed,
but they made the
but
tournament.
they made the tournament.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They're a good team. They just play in one of the best conferences in the nation.
Yeah, and they're going to see Florida State. They're in Florida State's regional, along with Princeton and Jacksonville State. So, they're a solid team. I think I was really surprised that they were at the bottom of the SEC this year. But the point you made, there is a luxury to be in the SEC, I think, and playing with RPI, especially playing all those great teams week in and week out.
It's because even if you beat like an Ole Miss, Ole Miss has beat LSU. They've beat Florida. Yeah. So it's tough. It is really hard from this point on in college softball to go through a season unscathed. Mm-hmm. It's just not going to happen anymore.
No, there is a kind of an equaling out of the teams that has been happening, and especially and over the conferences as well.
Could you imagine playing in the SEC? Think about it. It's pretty much postseason every weekend. Every week. Like, there is no time off. You have to be on all the time. Mm-hmm. But it certainly comes with its benefits as far as, like, making the tournament. And all 13 teams from the SEC made the tournament, which is another huge moment in history as far as, like, where the SEC has come.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Let's talk about one of those SEC teams. Number 16, Alabama, gets the seed. Minnesota doesn't. And we had a comment on our Facebook page a little bit ago about Minnesota, but I knew that we were going to talk about it here. Minnesota's unseeded, which is unbelievable to me, really. It almost makes me angry.
You are angry.
I am very angry, actually. They have three losses on the season. They're number 11 in RPI. How do they not get a seed? It's asinine to me. I don't get it.
And honestly, shame on the committee.
Yeah.
Here's why. It's not without any facts to back up why they absolutely deserve a seed. One, they won the Big Ten conference season championship. They won the Big Ten tournament. Mm-hmm. They have the best record in NCAA.
Yep.
What else do they need to do? Yes, they didn't play that many top 25 RPI teams. I understand that.
But their RPI is still, they're 11 RPI. Oklahoma is at number 12. LSU's 14. Alabama's 15 RPI. Ole Miss is 18. How much further do I have to go down? Utah is 19. It's bullshit. Like it does not make sense that Minnesota doesn't have a seed. And yeah, I think shame on the committee is probably the best thing that we should be saying there.
And the fact that they end up in Tuscaloosa, if we were talking the beginning of the season, would we have anticipated Alabama being a 16 seed? I think we would have said no, given the pitching staff.
Right. I would have thought they would have been higher.
Yeah. That is a tough part of the bracket, y'all.
Oh my goodness. Let's talk about that. In case you don't know that bracket, let's talk about it. We're talking kind of super regionals matchups. The Florida regional is Florida A&M, FIU, Oklahoma State. Which Oklahoma State, let's not forget about them. They had a solid season in the Big 12. And then Alabama's regional at number 16 is Alabama, Minnesota, Albany, and Louisiana Tech. So you're talking about Minnesota could take Alabama in regionals, and you end up with a Florida-Minnesota matchup in the super regionals.
Wild.
It's crazy, and you have two teams that have only lost 3 games on the season who could potentially play each other in super regionals. And for that to happen, one of them would have to be the underdog to win. Like it does not make any sense. Mm-hmm. It's asinine, and it makes me angry. And I don't like things that don't make sense, and it doesn't make sense. That's all I have to say about it.
That makes sense.
That makes sense. Does that make sense that it makes me? We got a comment here. If Georgia is in and not in their own conference tournament, it is BS that Gophers are not seeded. Holly, I agree with you. That makes sense to me. Yeah. It seems like people are up in arms a little bit about this Minnesota situation, which you should be, because I am too.
Yeah, talk about a team that's also just made history.
Yes.
With winning the Big Ten conference championship outright. Sarah Granawagen throwing the first no-hitter in Big Ten tournament history. I mean, this is just a team that has worked so hard and are prepared for this moment in history. And it's really, really just a shame. And I really sincerely hope that they actually win that part of the region.
Yeah, I know you're excited to see it. And they've won. I didn't realize this. They've won 3 of the last 4 Big Ten championships. So they deserve to be talked about, and they deserve, what we're giving them right now in terms of like a discussion. And they deserve that, and they deserve a seed.
They deserve a region.
They do. They do. It's crazy to me that they don't have it, and I could keep talking about it, but we can move on here to the potential Women's College World Series matchup we could see in Super Regionals. Ooh.
Who would have believed that this would happen?
I would not. I did not see Auburn and Oklahoma potentially playing in Super Regionals, but it could happen. Auburn is number 7, OU is number 10, and they will square off against each other if they both win their respective regionals. What's your take? What's the deal?
Well, let's just jump into who we think is going to win. Well, one, I do think Auburn's going to win that first region. I do think that there's going to be a Super Regionals rematch of the Women's College World Series, but this is going to be a much different type of match. Much different. And, OU would have to go to Auburn and play. But right now, I'm kind of leaning towards Oklahoma.
Yeah?
They are, won the Big 12, 2 won the Big 12 tournament. And right now, I think they've developed a system as far as like their pitching rotation where they are very, very difficult to beat right now. Paige Parker is now getting adequate amount of rest. So what we're going to see, as far as I'm concerned, in my opinion, you're going to see Paige Parker start, and then you're going to see Paige Lowry move into a kind of closer role for Oklahoma, which is just deadly when you think about it.
That is.
I mean, what a luxury
that they have that. That is,
and
they still have
Mariah Lopez. Ready to go.
Mariah Lopez is your number 3.
Who was up for Freshman of the Year. She didn't make the final cut, but she made that list.
Yeah.
She's another phenomenal pitcher. And I think just going into postseason, you better be able to hit left-handed pitchers.
Yeah. Yeah, I would have expected, I obviously expected OU to have a little bit better season than they did. I was not expecting them to be number 10 going into regionals, but I do think they're going to walk away from that super regional.
Yeah.
I think you're going to see
Sydney Romero is like crushing the ball right now. And Nicole Penley.
Yeah.
I think they're about to heat up. And everybody knows, like, once postseason rolls around and you're a player, game on.
Yeah.
Game frickin' on. It's the most exciting part of your entire season. It just, it gives me chills just thinking about it. Just because I've had the opportunity to play in three World Series, and just that feeling of competing and going into regionals is a different feeling.
Yeah. I want to talk about, bring up, there's going to be a little kind of Oklahoma rivalry game going on in the in regionals, most likely, because Oklahoma and Tulsa are actually in the same. And Tulsa had a great season. They're back-to-back conference champs, right?
Yep.
So there, and then Oklahoma also have North Dakota State and Arkansas in their region, and then Auburn, ETSU, Notre Dame, and Cal. So I think Auburn's going to be solid in their in theirs. And
Oklahoma's, they're still going to have to do work.
It's not going to be a cakewalk.
We've seen Arkansas upset a few people this year, and they're strong offensively. I believe they played each other earlier in the season. Oklahoma won. But definitely It's going to be tough. I'm so excited. I'm so jacked for postseason. Are you guys ready?
In case you couldn't tell, Ches is very excited for postseason.
My favorite time of the year.
So, our picks. It's that time, folks. Right?
Oh, we got some more comments.
Do we? We got some more comments coming
Jen
in?
Schro. OU is legit. But that Tulsa pitcher is the real deal. Oh, yeah. How the heck did Texas make a region? It's RPI.
Yep.
Man, that's...
I'm going to let you take that one.
I'm going to keep it to myself. Jen Schro's calling Arkansas upset over OU. Bold.
That is bold.
Bold.
I think they'll give them, if they match up.
I think that's a sister tie there.
Yeah. if they match up, I think it'll be a good solid game, but I think OU's going to take it. Folks, if you want to get in on this conversation, go ahead and comment on our Facebook, because we're getting some good stuff. Way to take the high road, Jess. Yeah.
I'm just gonna remain. I'm gonna plead the fifth.
Time for
let's do it
for Women's College World Series picks.
Predictions.
All right.
Gotta pull up my picks.
You
go first.
I'll go first.
You go first.
I'll go first.
Sarah's predictions.
Florida was upset by a number 16 seed last year. It's not going to happen again. As much as at this point, I'm a huge Gopher fan because of the atrocity that was done in seeding. As much as I would like to see the Gophers make the Women's College World Series with the season they've had, even if they do beat Alabama in regionals, Florida will not make the same mistake twice. They're not going to lose. They're not going to lose to a 16 or an unranked team.
God, you're such a flip-flopper.
Gophers.
You're such a flip-flopper.
No, I've been saying all season that Florida will not make the same mistake. Do they need to work on their offense? Yeah, they sure do.
They've known that all season. They still haven't got it together.
I'm not a flip-flopper. Florida is going to Women's College World Series.
All right.
Out of that 8 and 9 matchup, Texas A&M, Tennessee, I'm going with the Aggies. I think they're going to make it. And that's all I have to say about that.
Okay.
Ole Miss. It would be an Ole Miss UCLA matchup in Super Regionals if everything goes like we think it's going to go. And I'm giving it to Ole Miss. Man, I'm hashtag hotty toddy. Ole Miss is going to stamp their ticket to OKC.
About that hotty toddy life.
About that hotty toddy life. Florida State, I think, I think they're as sure as we can be with this season, but nothing is sure this season. I do think Oregon's going to go this season as well. I don't think they're going to make the same mistake.
Means that I have to get cornrows?
Yes. No, I think the cornrows was if Oregon wins the Women's College World Series.
No,
right?
It was if they make it to OKC. That's the deal,
folks.
Right? You guys make it to OKC. This is my third time telling you.
I thought it was just
you make
they
it
have
to
win.
OKC. I will wear cornrows.
Oh, people!
And Kylie Kuiko has already agreed to braid me up. So there you have it.
Yeah, I'm just reading some of these comments. Somebody really wants Utah in there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, where am I here? So yeah, folks, your Chess is going to have cornrows one Monday. When just letting you guys know.
They got to win. So
I know Utah had a tough weekend with Washington, but I don't think they're going to make those same mistakes again. I think they're going to tighten up the walks, tighten up the defense. I do believe Utah is going to punch their ticket to OKC as well.
Ooh,
I'm going with Utah.
Bold.
They're your previous dark horse, and I'm going with them. Last two in the potential Women's College World Series matchup, which I do think is going to happen. I'm giving it to the Boomer Sooners.
Of course. Duh.
Boomer Sooner train.
Is anyone really surprised?
I'm not going to hop
No one's
off
surprised by that,
the
Sarah.
Boomer Sooner train this late in the season. And then I'm also on the Arizona train.
Yep.
I have been all season. I'm super excited to see them in playoffs. So those are my picks.
All right.
They're great picks. They're solid picks. I don't think
are those like Vegas picks?
I don't think Chez's picks are going to be anywhere close to the caliber of my picks.
From anything that I've learned from us doing predictions, it's unpredictable.
It is unpredictable.
Oh, man.
People are not happy with my Ole Miss over UCLA prediction. They were saying UCLA is peaking. Go Bruins. UCLA all the way. Where's the hottie toddy love, folks?
Yeah,
all right, I'm gonna let Ches go. Lauren likes my picks. Very solid.
All right. Here are my picks for who's going to the Women's College World Series. I'm being bold here because I think nothing happens as they should, what we've seen through the course of the season. I'm picking Minnesota to walk out of Tuscaloosa and Gainesville. I think they've got a major chip on their shoulder, and I think they're ready to prove themselves. I'm being bold here. So out of the 8-9, I'm going to go with Tennessee. I think they have a very, very strong offense, and I think they have enough in the circle to get them to OKC. You know, I've gone back and forth with Tennessee, but I think they've proved a lot to me. They had a huge win streak going on through season, and they took one away from Florida, I think, given the setup of the region, and they won the Texas A&M series. So you have that as well. So out of the 5-12, I'm going to have to go against you. I'm going to go with UCLA Bruins making it to the Women's College World Series. Despite their rocky season, they just find a way. They just do. And you can't argue with that.
I just want to say that for the first 3 picks, we are completely opposite. We have none of the first 3 picks are the same.
We don't agree. I feel like the Bruins team right now offensively are really tough to handle. And I think that's something different that Ole Miss will have to deal with. They're an offense right now that with one swing of the bat, they can change the outcome of a game. I just think Madeline Jelinicki, huge. Delaney Spalding having a great season. And then you talk about Rachel Garcia on the mound right now.
Yep.
She is so good.
We had a comment about about Garcia. They want to see the Garcia-Lee matchup, which I think you will. I think that's going to happen for sure. Somebody gave us their picks. Do you want to hear them before you finish yours?
No, I'm going to finish mine. We'll get to theirs in a bit.
Hovin, we'll come back to you. I like the picks. We'll come back to you.
All right. So we've got, of course, I've been on the Florida State train all season long. I'm predicting them to walk into OKC. It's not going to be without a fight. I mean, they're either going to have to go through LSU or Louisiana, which are both, different teams. LSU stronger pitching, Louisiana or UL Lafayette strong offensively, and then they've got Georgia in the region. But they've got a lot of weapons on their team. And I'm predicting that they go to OKC. Moving on to the right side of the bracket, I've got Oregon. Don't let me down. I'm so ready to get those cornrows. You have no idea.
I'm so ready for Ches to get those cornrows, Oregon. Come on. We can do it. Go Ducks.
And then out of the 11-6 seed, I'm going to go with Washington. I know Utah's been my dark horse, but that comeback that they staged last weekend really kind of solidified.
It was impressive.
That pick. Out of the 7-10 region with Auburn and Oklahoma, I predict that Oklahoma is going to go. Both on the same page.
We are on the same page there.
Yeah. But, I mean, it could be anybody's game.
It could be. It really is.
And then the bottom right, I'm going with Arizona for sure. Baylor's definitely going to be a tough one, but those are my picks: Minnesota, Tennessee, UCLA, Florida State, Oregon, Washington, Oklahoma, and Arizona.
So we're on the same page for some of them. Yeah,
really, really interesting. You want to go to some of the picks from some people commenting on our Facebook?
Yeah. Let's go here. We got somebody's going UL Raging Cajuns. Yeah, more. Chris is kind of sad that Auburn and Oklahoma won't be in the Women's College World Series together, playing each other. A lot of comments about Minnesota. No respect for the Big Ten. I hope they step up and show everybody wrong, which Ches is projecting they're going to. I'm I think they're going to beat Alabama in the Tuscaloosa Regional. I think
if they put up runs early, or if they just put up 3 or more runs, I would predict that Minnesota would win.
Yeah. I think they're gonna take the regional. I don't think they're gonna take the super. I don't think Florida's gonna make the same mistake twice. I don't think they're going to, and I've been saying that all season.
Yeah. I don't know. You have you have a team who's up against all odds, and then you have a team who's trying not to repeat the same mistakes as last year. I'm going to go with the team that's going against all odds.
All right.
That's just me.
All right. Here's a straight up 8 pick: Alabama, Tennessee, UCLA, Florida State, Oregon, Washington, Oklahoma, Arizona. Pack is back! ! Those are I think Alabama's the one that's kind of the question mark for me on those picks. But those are we know anything can happen.
If you play Alabama, you don't pitch to Bailey Hemphill.
Yeah.
I think that's what you do.
Yeah.
If I'm the opposing team,
take notes, folks. Because don't pitch to Bailey Hemphill. Because
she's the one that's been killing people. With one swing of the bat, boom.
Yeah.
As long as she touches home plate.
Yeah, she's that was freshman. They make you make mistakes. So those are solid picks. Anything could happen. We got some more. Go Bruins, FSU.
Yeah, we had somebody ask why no Louisiana.
Why no Louisiana? What's the deal with that, Chess?
Well, I haven't seen them in the Women's College World Series in a while, and quite frankly, let me look at that side of the bracket. I think Florida State's better than them. Mm-hmm. That's why.
Yeah. So here's some interesting ones. I'll run by you. Florida, Tennessee, UCLA, FSU, Oregon. Okay, those we've been talking about them. Michigan, Tulsa, and Arizona. So Michigan and Tulsa, obviously the interesting picks there. What do you have to say to Allen's picks?
Well, I think this is a little off topic, but I still think Washington has their hands full.
They do.
With Michigan in their region.
Michigan knows. It's no surprise they've had a tough season.
Yeah, but Betza right now, one of the leading strikeout pitchers in the nation.
Yep, they know how to win. It's a program that knows how to win.
And you've got Hutch.
Exactly. It's hard to bet against them. I think they're in a little bit too much of a hole from the season.
Yeah, we agree with you, Holly. Michigan does have to hit to win. There's just so many teams like that. When I think about they've got strong pitchers, but offensively it just doesn't match up with Florida and Alabama and Michigan. Yeah. So we'll see. Betza does rock, Holly. We agree with you.
Yeah, Betza's no joke, man. No joke at all.
Oh, this is fun.
This is fun.
Are you ready for next weekend?
This is bananas, folks. Yeah, I think we're all caught up on most of the comments here.
Yeah, let's wrap this thing up.
Oh, this guy has an interesting question. We'll maybe discuss.
All right.
You want to go for it?
What's the question?
He says it's way off topic, but it's kind of interesting. It's like the NBA does for WNBA, has there been any talks about MLB adopting a Major League Softball league to the league is supported by the MLB? We're diving into the major leagues here, but this guy's wondering, Kelvin, is wondering, is there going to be that kind of relationship between the MLB and the NPF, like you see with the WNBA and the NBA?
I think that relationship, that communication has already been established. Now, to the extent to how much MLB is going to get involved with the NPF is a different story. But just like, any good business, I'm sure the MLB wants to see some improvements or numbers as far as, I don't know what those numbers are, but I already know that there's already communication there. Now, to the extent of how much MLB helps with the NPF, I don't know. Right. I don't have the answer for that. But potentially, I would love to see that. Because there are so many great players within the NPF. It just go to one NPF game and you'll see just unbelievable talent, 1 through 9 on both sides.
It's all your favorite college players in one spot,
Yep, exactly. Who doesn't want to see that?
Exactly.
I remember when I was coaching in the NPF, it's just, there was Natasha Watley and Shelby Penley and Lauren Chamberlain and Renata Davis and Lauren Hager on the mound. And I was just like, wow.
Yeah. It's a Women's College World Series every weekend,
So cool.
every day. I think Annie says it best for how everybody is feeling right now. She's like, I'm going nuts. I can't wait to see what happens.
Yes.
I feel like that is how all of us are feeling. So Annie, you nailed it. I think we're going to end on Annie going nuts and can't wait to see what happens.
Cool. So just outside of Here's the Deal, we've got more Hot 100 rankings coming out this week. It's our final 50 going into this week. I've seen a lot of great feedback from parents and players. And then we'll also have our Hot 100 show this week with Brent Eads. And that'll be live on Thursday, so tune in, and we'll give you an update on Hot 100 rankings. And yeah, that's the deal.